Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, you're going to have Fenris. Fenris from Canada. So, let's see what Fenris has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello? Yes!
There we go.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Oh my god, you were in a very dark place before.
I know. I was like, oh, maybe I can record in my basement. I'm like, no, it's not going to work. I'm like, this camera does not have the greatest definition for...
It's okay. It looks nice out there.
Our faces.
How is the day going so far? Early morning?
Still waking up.
What's the weather look like right now over there?
Warm and sunny, so can't complain.
So tell me, where are you from?
I'm from Canada, so I'm close to where Niagara Falls is, so right near the border between the US and Canada.
Oh, wow, my best friend, he lives in Canada, he lives in Montreal, and the first time, 4 years ago, the first time I went to Canada, I spent sometimes 2-3 days, I think, near Niagara Falls, exploring Toronto. Yeah, it was nice.
Everyone loves coming here. I've lived here all my life, so the falls are they're the falls, they're nice. When you live next to them, they're like, oh, I can go visit them anytime.
So how far are you from the falls?
Probably about 15-minute drive.
Okay, that's very close, very close.
Yeah, very close.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm actually an assistant winemaker at one of the wineries locally.
Oh, wow. And maybe I visit your place, because when I was there, I did like this tour around for the day, like we visit some wine, like some farms as well around.
Yeah, there's a few different wineries that, there's a lot.
and what do you like the most about your job?
It's a mix of art and science. So that's kind of the part that makes me the most interested in it. It's just the fact that, and I get an end product that I can, what happened?
As you can see.
I get an end product that I can share with my friends. Not very often that you can be like, I made this.
I see. And just before we start the game, Fenris, just tell me something interesting about yourself.
Something interesting about myself? Ooh.
Yeah.
Damn, why is that always a hard question? It's like the dating app profile. I mean, probably the most interesting aspect of me is just the fact that, like, is the wine aspect. Like, you get me started talking about wine and you will be in an hour-long conversation with me, because it is just a subject that I can go on and on about.
I see. For the interview, I'm going to explore a little bit about your career, so we can talk a little bit about it, okay? Okay, Fenris, so welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I've got here my lovely box, okay, full of random fun questions. I'm just gonna play a song now, just for us to dance a little bit before the first question, just to wake you up a little bit. Ready?
Wake me up, yeah.
Let's do it. Okay, Fenris, ready for the first question?
Yeah.
Let's do it. So the first question is, just before I start the game, if there is a question you don't have an answer for, you don't want to answer, always can pick another question, okay? It's all very friendly and chilled. Right, so the first question is, when have you been the most happy?
Oh, I mean, funny enough, it's probably during COVID, which, I mean, most people are like the last time, but I met some really great people and we've managed to create a really fun time. And so it's actually gay camping. So the first time I went, I was hesitant. I didn't really know a lot of people, but I met the most fantastic people, and they have been nothing but fun this entire summer and last summer. So it's been a lot of joy, and in this period of time, any joy you can get just is like fantastic.
So tell me a little bit about it. It's a community that you started out.
So it was a group of people that had already known each other for a long time. I had met them through other friends, and yeah, they became such close friends very quickly. And it just was a community that I never really expected to be. It was a group I never really expected I would be part of. So it's been very nice to be accepted and just to be loved for who I am. And that was something that I just wasn't used to. So
I see. And when you said I could find who I am, and who are you? When you mentioned that, why did you find it wasn't there, or it was hidden, or for some reason you couldn't be out? Or tell me a little bit about it if you can.
I just felt that I placed a lot of judgments on myself in terms of my actions. So I spent so much time worried about what other people thought of me rather than just trying to be authentically who I was. So for me, I'm outside, so my dog just joined me.
Oh.
For me, it was important to just not carry those judgments of myself forward, not worry about what other people are thinking, but just be like, no, I need to be myself. I need to express myself however I choose, and not worry about how everyone else is going to perceive it. Absolutely.
I think whatever you are, whatever you be, whatever you behave, there's always going to be someone who doesn't. Let me see who's there.
He's my puppy.
Hello.
He's like, I have no idea what's going on.
What's his name?
His name is Royal.
Oh, beautiful. So as I was telling before, so yes, I think whatever you are in the world, there's always someone who's gonna judge you, or gonna point you. So let's not be ourselves, let's just be ourselves, and there's always someone who's gonna point. It's part of the journey as well.
And it's part of why I ended up creating sort of an alternate account and everything on Instagram, because I had friends and family on the other one, and it was too much to want to put that out there for them, because they don't have an understanding of the way that I want to express myself. So I did it, and then I've never looked back. So now it's a whole TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, everything.
Very good. Let's go for the second question, Fenris. Okay. Let's do it. Next question for you is, what was your worst wardrobe mistake?
My worst what?
Wardrobe mistake.
Wardrobe mistake. Ooh. So, I mean, it was a really good moment of my life, but looking back at it now, awful. Everything about the look was awful. I decided to wear heels for the first time ever, walking on the street at Pride in Toronto.
Right.
And the outfit was not. No. The heels were silver. I had jean shorts on. I had a black tank top. Nothing matched. Nothing matched. It was just, I look at the picture, I'm like, that's a strong moment, but that's a bad outfit.
I'm glad there are pictures. I'm glad there are pictures.
There are, and yeah, there definitely are pictures, and because it's such a good moment, I love the pictures. But the next time I wear those heels, I will definitely be wearing a better outfit.
Nice one. Next question. Right, before the next question, tell me a little bit about the pup community.
Oh, well, see, so that's something that I'm still learning about. I'm really brand new to it. So right. I only really started doing pup stuff this year.
Okay.
And there was no one that really brought me into it. I sort of discovered it on my own and have been slowly kind of embracing it through other people that I've managed to talk to and connect with. And just a sense of openness that people are willing to talk about it. One of the funniest things is there's a lot of misconceptions. People,
which are?
Well, I had my friend be like, "Oh, you like to put a hood and you like to act like a dog," and it's like, well, that's not what it's all about for everyone. For me in particular, it's about escaping into a headspace. It's about being able to be primal, being able to just have fun and be playful which has always been my personality. And like, oh, like just not worry anymore about how anything is going to be. It's just being able to like have fun with it. And so the more I explore, the more I just embrace it. And it has really started to become a lot more a part of my life than I thought it would be. But yeah, I never really understood what it was about either. And the more I learn about it, the more I'm like, okay, this is definitely at least a part of who I am.
And let's say that someone wants to get into it. What would be your advice to this person, or your?
My advice is read. There's lots of information out there in terms of what it is to be a pup, and also that with any kink, it's a degree. You don't have to be 100% into anything and to everything to be able to be part of the community. You're allowed to set your own boundaries. And I think that was the part that scared me the most, is that like, oh, you're a pup. You got to be like all of these things. It's like, no. I'm allowed to choose what aspects of things I'm allowed to be a part of. So don't let the fear hold you back from trying to express yourself.
Very good, very good. Next question for you is, if you had only 24 hours of life, what would you do?
Oh, 24 hours of life. Probably go find a remote spot somewhere where there's no people. Bring my dog, just have fun, maybe get drunk and high. Like it just seems like one of those moments where it's like you should enjoy everything, but like I don't know, all those like little moments, like being able to see the stars. That would be one of the things that I would like. If I had 24 hours left, I want to see as many freaking stars as possible in the sky. No lights, just stars. Then the world ends.
I like it. Next one, let's do it. Next time when I come to around your area, I come for a coffee. For sure. And you can show me a little bit of the puppy community. Next question for you is, what are the top 3 things on your bucket list?
Ooh. 1, California. Just going to, like, I had always planned to go there before COVID, but obviously with everything, it's just sort of like threw it in the actual thing. Being able to go to France to taste wine, and being able to just go into like one of those really, really old cellars would be a lot of fun. And to go back to Australia. So they're all very travel related. We've been so confined, we want to get out. But yeah, I'd really like to do an international harvest. So being able to do a work visa, go to Australia and New Zealand and be able to work in those vineyards is really cool. But it depends on my age and whether or not I can apply for the visa.
So you said that you lived in Australia before?
I have. I went when I was really, really young. Just as a sort of vacation destination, and I want to go back, but then I'm like, if I go there, I may not come back.
Good. Next question for you. Let's do it first. Next question for you is, what makes you feel discouraged?
Isolation. So I would say that being by myself for too long can really be kind of just get me down. Like I'm usually very good at catching it, because sometimes I will do it myself. But yeah, if I isolate myself for too long, I find that I tend to just go in a bad direction. So like COVID for the first part was trying to find new ways to connect with people so that I didn't feel isolated. Doing Zoom calls, having remote game nights, trying to find anything so that you could feel still like you were close to people.
I see. When you look back, Fenris, when you look back through since last year when the world went upside down, the first lockdown, when you look back, what was the most positive thing you took out of this journey, and what's the most challenging part you faced at the time, or still facing, or?
I mean, the most positive thing was I had to actually look inside. Like I had to reflect on all the things that like I didn't want to reflect on. So there was a lot of personal stuff that I hadn't really worked through that I'm like, okay, nope, now's the moment. You don't have anything else going on. It's time to work through it. And the hardest thing was having people that you felt were really good friends start to turn a little bit. Like some friendships became more difficult with distance and also with just disagreement. Everyone having such strong opinions became, you started to really see who people were, and sometimes that wasn't always the greatest taste.
That's true. I think, as you said, I think that during this time, some people, they show their true colors as well somehow. Do you know what I mean?
And colors that you were like, oh, this is how you feel about this subject. Interesting. Especially with a lot of the Black Lives Matter stuff coming out and everything happening and people just being very opinionated. And yes. You're like, okay, well, your opinion is interesting, but doesn't line up with who I am and what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I agree. I think there was a lot of controversy around and people, expressing themselves in a way that you're like, wow, that's something that I wasn't expecting. Or,
and I think that I spent a lot of time in the past kind of not really being vocal about my opinions in terms of what I felt were important to me, and that was something that over COVID that I was like, no, it's time that I become someone who's a proponent of the different things that I believe in, not just someone who stands by and watches. So stop trying to be a bystander.
Next question. Let's do it. Did you always have the support of your family being gay?
Ooh. So no. My coming out story actually started very early. So I came out when I was 15 to my parents. So most people usually come out friends and then family. I actually came out to my family first. But there was the rest of my family. It took a lot longer because my mom was very hesitant because of how religious everyone was, and there had been conversations about things that had made things seem kind of uncomfortable. So eventually, when I did come out to my entire family, everyone was very supportive. And no, it's still education. So there's still moments where it's just like, they tend to tread lightly around me, and it's like, no, like if there's something that's wrong, like I will be the first one to be like, no, like this is not okay.
I see.
But I've never felt in my family that I've ever had that was something that was a concern. I was hesitant because I didn't want to. I don't like making people uncomfortable, and so it was always that thing of like, I just didn't want to have them look at me differently, but they never have. And that's been something that's been a great support for me.
And when you said you were 15 years old when you did it, it was like a reason that you said, okay, that's the time, or something happened, or just not
something happened. So I went to a very, very small school, and someone else who was gay at the school tried to out me in front of a bunch of people, and I adamantly denied it, and then got him suspended for sexual harassment because he went one step too far. Right. And later, after all of that the dust had settled, I had actually went to my mom and I'm like, so you know how I adamantly denied that I was gay? Well, funny story. I am actually gay. So it was just that's one of the things I think too. I ended up having a conversation with the person much later in life, and I realized that where he came from was a place of isolation. He was someone who saw me struggling with my identity, and rather than have a private conversation and go about it in a healthy way, he just lashed out and tried to be like, no, you need to come out so that I'm not the only one in the community that's out. And so I don't like, I forgave him a long time ago for what happened. But yeah, it's kind of funny how the things work out where it's just like, I got you suspended, and then I literally came out to my mom like 2 days later.
It's very interesting saying that, because I think all of us, we have a story, you know, to tell. We have like somehow we went through some tough times at the time as well, and there's so many stories out there, and I'm glad. Thanks for sharing that. I think it's very personal when you're sharing this, but I think it's I think all of us, I think, as you said before about this in particular, this person, this guy, maybe he just maybe he felt comfort on you as well, and he didn't know how to express himself. He was, you know, somehow.
And not the best way to express it by coming to someone in a swim meet and saying, hey, you're checking out other guys, I saw you. Like, no, that's not how you do it. You have a nice little private conversation there, and you say, hey, like, I know that, like, I've seen you checking out, like, I don't know if you are, like, that would have been the appropriate thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're kids. Like, at 15, 16 years old, you're children. You don't know what the fuck you're doing.
You made me remember a story now. I was playing volleyball for years and years. Like when I was 11 years old, I started playing volleyball, and I was playing until when I was 18. Like I was traveling a lot. I was training every single day. And I never forget this point. So when you were traveling on other cities, like in a championship or something, sometimes you were kind of sharing. We were all guys sleeping like 4 or 5 guys in the same room, and we had a shower together. Like the shower, there's no separation. There was like just a shower, and we were having shower together. And I remember once, I think it was the very first time, I had an erection and all that. And somebody saw me, my friend saw me. It's like, oh my God, really, what's happened? I was just so embarrassed. I didn't know how to hide, because I was trying to kind of, you know, hide myself and but it's, it wasn't the time when I came out, but I remember this moment where I was like, oh my God, because I actually was like, I think it was the first time when my body expresses itself like in a way that was
I mean, it's a bodily function. Sometimes you just I'm
and at the time I wasn't clear, you know, I didn't know about anything about like even sexual. I didn't know about sex at the time, like sex, you know, I'm sure like I had an idea, but I don't have this kind of approach about sex. I didn't know what was there, and then suddenly I was just having a shower, and I don't even remember what I did. I think I look around. I was like, oops, something's happening here, and so yeah, it was a bit embarrassing, but
I mean, when I was a teenager, if the right breeze hit the right way, it was like,
yeah.
That's the funny thing is I look back at a lot of the things when I was a kid, and I spent so much time. I was someone who was younger. I had a high voice. I was in choir. I had very effeminate mannerisms because I lived primarily with my mom and my sister.
Right.
So I just came across as someone who was very effeminate, and people, the moment they found out what the word gay meant, it was thrown at me. So I spent so much time denying that fact and pushing those emotions down, that it's only actually within the last few years that I've even started being more comfortable with being able to express my femininity. That was something that, like, through other people and seeing how comfortable they are with themselves, and like, like these are things that I spent so much time pushing back on because of what other people thought, that I'm like, no, for me, they're just, you know, people either love it or they hate it.
Next question for you is, what do you think people need to know about each other before they get married?
Your credit score? I think that when it comes to marriage, it's about marrying your best friend. You need to know everything. The ones that I see that are the most successful are the ones that communicate the best. I mean, people change. People are not going to stay stagnant in the same forever. You have to learn and grow with them. And if you don't, then that's where marriages tend to fall apart, where someone stays the same and the other person grows past them. But yeah, communication. If you don't have that communication between two people, a marriage is just a waste of time. And finances. You have to be on the same page there, because the finances will be the one thing that break up any marriage under any circumstances.
I like that. I like you said, you're gonna marry your best friends. I think it's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point. I like that. Yeah, for sure. Next question for you, Fenris. Let's do it. Right, next question for you is, what is the strangest gift have you ever received?
Strangest gift? I don't really think I've gotten any like odd gifts. Gotten bad ones from like grandparents, the typical like, oh, you bought me a sweater that's 3 sizes too large for me. Great, thanks. But like strange gifts.
A funny one. Do you have like a funny one?
I had a funny one that I had to open up in front of my family that I did not realize was going to be something that my boyfriend at the time gave me a gift, and it was just, I don't know, we had known each other for a very short period of time, and when I started opening the gift and realizing it that there was like socks and underwear inside of it, I was like, well, this is interesting. My entire family was there. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I wonder what they think right now in terms of like this person that I've known for a few weeks is just giving me like underwear. So that's probably like the strangest gift, but I mean, like,
for the time being was strange. Yeah.
It was a little unusual.
Yeah. Maybe he was out of like ideas. Maybe he ran out of ideas. He didn't know it very well.
I think it was just like a bunch of like little things. But yeah, it was definitely kind of funny.
And how long was the relationship for?
We were dating for less than a month, and my family had invited him to Christmas. So I feel bad for him because like it was definitely not something he should have come to or said yes to come to. But I mean, my family just wants to like bring people in. They're like, come to Christmas, come be with us. I'm like, okay.
And how long was the relationship for?
Just a month. It literally was like.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. I got it. After that was like
after
a big time.
Yeah. It was a nice fling, but I was never. We're still good friends now, but I mean, it's just laughing at it at the whole point. It's just like, okay, for the moment.
Next question. Right, before the next one, what's your favorite, red or white wine?
I get asked that question all the time. I do not discriminate against any wines. But I will say that in the summer I tend to drink white because it's cool and refreshing, and in the winter I tend to drink red because like they're just nice and warm and have higher alcohol. So I'm a seasonal drinker, but in terms of like what I find that as a winemaker, if you tend to have too much of a preference towards one, that it can sometimes you miss out. Because there's some great white wines out there that I feel like a lot of people that are like, I only drink red. I'm like, well, you're missing out on a lot. So
I see. And if you could pick your favorite one, which one would be? Like red and white. There is like
great varieties. For white, it's definitely Riesling. I love a really old Riesling, so something that's been around for a while and really taken the time to be able to develop. It's got such interesting notes to it. And for red, I would probably say Cab Franc, which is it's just one of the varieties that does really well here in Ontario. But and also like just in other places. We do some other varieties here that are I'm like, they're good in some years, but not always great every year.
Right. Tough question now. If your plane was going down to crash and you could call just one person to say goodbye over the phone, who that would be and why?
Oh, definitely my mom. Me and my mom are really close. I still live at home with her, so she's the person that I still, when I get to anywhere, I'm just like, I'm here, I'm safe. So if the plane was going down, it would definitely be her.
Good, very good. 3 questions left for you, okay? Let's do it. Tell us about your guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure.
Oh.
I mean, besides typical guilty pleasure. I think my automatic thing goes to like candy. Like I am a sucker. Like I bought some for my camping trip. And I'm like, I bought this to share a whole giant bag of like fuzzy peaches. I didn't share with anybody. They're all slowly being eaten by just me. That's like, candy is the weakness. If I see it, I'll just be like, oh look, it's there, and just start snacking.
Good. Me too. I'm a sweet thief as well. I love sweets. I think sweets something that always nowadays I control a little bit more, but it's funny. Last night I had some chocolate brownie that I was expecting. My flatmate brought some. I was like, oh no, and I could eat the whole bunch of chocolate brownie. It was lovely. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Before the next question, what's the biggest misconception of people has like overall about wine, in your opinion? If there is anything like overall.
In my area, the biggest misconception that I have is dealing with the fact that people automatically go, oh, Ontario wine is bad. Because our industry had a really bad reputation in its early days. And it's still a challenge to get people locally to drink wine. And that's always been like the biggest struggle in terms of me facing people being like, oh yeah, I don't really drink Ontario wine. Like, well, why not? Why don't we drink Ontario wine? Like, what are your reasons? Have you had one? Like,
I see.
That's sort of the struggle. It's just the fact that there's already like this preconception as to what they're going to get. And the other thing too is there's this preconception in terms of like, oh, I only like red wine. Like, okay, but have you had white wine? Or do you even try it? Do you even bother to like go and try and find something different? They're like, no, I only drink red. Like, okay, cool. Be close-minded.
And do you also agree that people, when they say, okay, having a glass of red wine every day is healthy, do you agree with that?
Everything in moderation. I think that like there's a degree. I'm personally not someone who drinks by myself. I usually am someone who drinks socially. But yeah, I mean, if you're having a glass of red wine every day, that's probably okay. If you're having a bottle of red wine every day,
it's a different
that's
story.
Probably not.
It's gonna go a different direction for sure.
Yeah.
Next question for you is, if you could make up a school subject, what that would be and why?
Oh, can I say that if I could choose to do a high school subject that I didn't do,
okay,
I would want to do drama. I never got around to doing drama. Instead, I just did art classes because I did like I am an okay painter. Okay.
Be modest. I think you are a good painter. Just be modest, I think.
But yeah, I avoided drama because of the stigma that went along with being a drama kid. So I just like, no, I can't do that because people already think that I'm too much to do this. So it's not gonna be a good choice. And that's probably like one of the biggest regrets I have in terms of high school subjects that I think I would have probably done really well at had I just let myself be more comfortable with it.
So I think you just didn't because what's the environment around you, like what people think about it?
Yeah, I went to a Catholic school
Oh.
So as much as I was out, I was not out. So new drama just kind of put more of a laser focus on me. And I was like, no, I like being the person that's more in the background rather than in the forefront.
Okay. Ready for the next one? Let's do it. Okay, Fenris, before the next question, can you share like a funny story or an interesting story that happened to you? I'm sure you do a lot of like wine tastings, or you do a lot of presentations or around, or you know what I mean, like the business. There's like a fun story that maybe you got drunk or tips a little bit, or things went a different direction that you were not expecting, something like that?
Yeah. So there was a wine event that I typically keep my sexuality in the industry kind of, it's very, very heterosexual industry. So it's very it's male oriented. There's it's slowly coming around, but obviously with anything that's based in a lot of tradition, the concept of change is very slow.
I see.
So I tend to keep my sexuality a little bit more close to my heart and private.
I see.
I went to a wine event, and a guy that I knew from one of the apps was working or was sort of at the event as well. I got very drunk and we ended up making out on the dance floor, and it was definitely not something I had anticipated doing it wasn't a work event, but it was a wine event, and it's a very tight-knit community, so luckily I think everyone else was drunk enough that no one really probably noticed, but it was definitely a fun moment.
Wow.
That's what happens when you have too much Chardonnay.
Okay, next question is, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Oh, if money wasn't a factor. I would say that I would probably live either out in Vancouver. It's because it's such a beautiful area, and I haven't actually been yet. But it's just that anyone that I know that's gone, for the most part, to BC for work hasn't come back. They stay out there. Either that, or I would move to Australia. The only thing that deters me from moving to Australia is all the snakes and the spiders and the things that can kill you. there's a lot.
I'm from Brazil, so I know what you mean. I exactly know what you mean.
Those are some things that I'm like, ooh,
Scared.
Scary.
For sure. Okay, friends, not the end yet. Okay, let's play now the word association game. So I'm going to give away some words and just tell one word that comes to your mind. Okay, quick thinking. Let's start with family.
Values.
Money.
A lot.
Please. Love.
Friendship.
Life.
Long.
Sex.
Passion.
Okay. Politics.
Politics. Liberal.
Okay. Religion.
Indifferent.
I like that. Fear.
Writers.
Friendship.
Love.
Regret.
Regret. No.
No regrets.
Yeah, no, no.
Desire.
Food.
Success.
Friendship.
Happiness.
Peace.
Okay. Wish.
Star.
And if I tell you puppy community, one word.
Oh, acceptance.
And actually, I'm gonna put it a different way. Okay, one word for red wine and one word for white wine.
One word for red. Warm.
Okay.
And white. Fruity. Because that's usually the type of white wines I like.
Okay. And so let's pretend. Okay, the last one now. Niagara Falls. One word.
Yawn. Beauty. It is beautiful.
It is, for sure. It's beautiful. Okay, let's pretend now. Imagine if I'm going to meet your lovely mom for a cup of tea, and I'm going to ask her, what's the most beautiful thing about Fenris, and what's he needs to improve on? What do you think she'll tell me?
She would probably do what everyone else does and say, oh, well, he has such beautiful eyes.
You do.
It is one thing that people go for. And what I need to improve on, she would probably say that I don't message her fast enough. So it would be a response in terms of her text messages.
Slow replier. Slow reply.
Or like if I go somewhere, I'm not very quick to be like, hey, I've got there. So more about that aspect of things.
Very good. Let's play now Fenris and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. But okay, Fenris, you can ask me a question now.
So, my question was, what is your favorite snack? If you had to choose one snack that you absolutely could not give up, what would it be?
Snacks. Right. Okay. Like you, I love food as well, okay? I love food. But the first thing that came to my mind, straight away when you said about snacks, was cheese balls. We have cheese balls here in the UK, in the supermarket. Yeah. Sometimes when I go around and I need to get something, when I pass by, I just pick it up then. It's something like a guilty pleasure. Yeah.
You guilty pleasure as well.
Yeah, it's the cheese balls. I love it. And in Brazil, we have these cheese balls as well, like we call pão de queijo. It's very popular. I think any Brazilian person, everyone knows about this pão de queijo. It's like the same thing as well, a bit bigger, but it's very kind of it's like a sponge thing. You know what I mean? Like melts. It's beautiful.
Okay.
I'll take cheese balls for sure. Easy question. Oh,
I know, it's easy.
Did you have a good time, Fenris?
I did. It was fun.
Thanks so much. Thanks for taking the time early morning to do the interview with me. But before you go, if you don't mind to share a positive message or a positive quote, something that inspires you in life.
What inspires my life right now is just the fact that I don't let fear and discomfort control who I am anymore. So I am authentically as me as much as possible, and I think that that's the important thing, is that don't be afraid to express yourself, and don't be afraid to cause other people discomfort. It's not about other people, it's about you. That's true. I totally agree with you. I totally agree. And as I said before, whatever you do, whatever you are, always got someone who's not gonna agree or disagree, or you know what I mean. So just the fact is be yourself, and the world will be a better place. And be comfortable talking to people with different opinions, and not angry. Absolutely. Yeah, I think so as well. I totally agree. Fenris, it was a pleasure. Thanks so much. Thanks, I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure. And thank you very much. It was a pleasure. No problem. Okay, thanks so much. And keep in touch. Okay. Will do. Enjoy your day. Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website www.williamandthemagicbox.com and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show, and I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.